It's a really lovely thing to watch birds feeding in your garden. But in recent years, the threat posed by contagious diseases means that good hygiene practices around your bird feeders have become really important. For example, the population of green finches, which we used to see regularly in our garden but now hardly at all, has been really hard hit by trichomoniasis caused by a parasite that's reduced their population by 60% since 2006. The worry is that by encouraging the birds to feed so close together at a feeding station, you're actually aiding the transmission of these diseases through the birds' droppings and saliva. So we're delighted to be trialling these new bird feeders produced by a company called Finches Friend, which have been designed from scratch to try and minimise the chance of the spread of infectious diseases amongst the feeding birds in comparison to more conventional feeders.
Now, the problem with many conventional bird feeders is that the feeding perches are arranged vertically, and some, as in this one, are directly one above the other. So there's a danger that sort of contaminated food from their beak or their droppings is going to drop onto the bird below, which, as we know, is not advisable at all. And bird feeders with their little tray at the bottom here aren't great either. It's completely open and they can hop around in there, they can leave their droppings, and those birds that are already infected will often regurgitate their food to their saliva, and the saliva then spreads the disease. Another bird picks that up. So the Finches Friend cleaner bird feeders solve this problem by arranging it so that the birds will feed in a horizontal plane rather than a vertical one here. They'll hang on with their little feet around these outside perches and just their heads go in to peck the food here, so there's no cross-contamination between the birds. Now, another thing we need to avoid is the accumulation of mouldy food at the bottom. But of course, it's going to be very difficult to clean a feeder like this. I don't know how you would get a brush right down to the bottom there to avoid the build-up of mouldy food right at the end. And then this one, you actually see a great lump of mouldy food stuck right down at the bottom there that we can't get at to clean. Whereas the Finches Friend cleaner bird feeder, you put the extra food in the top here, and every last bit of that comes through the chute at the bottom here and is pecked. So there is literally no accumulation of old food at all. They're always getting a fresh supply.
Now, the other thing we're all encouraged to do to minimise cross-infection is to give our bird feeders a good clean with a mild disinfectant once a week. And the good thing about the Finches Friend feeders is that they all come apart really quickly and easily. This is their seed dispenser, and the peanut feeder is just as easy here. It disassembles really in seconds, so you can get at all the sort of internal and external parts to give them a really good scrub. And your weekly clean really only needs to take a minute or two. So all in all, I would recommend Finches Friend feeders if you want the peace of mind that you're doing your best to minimise the spread of disease in your garden birds. Now, I talk a little more about the Finches Friend feeders on our blog at the3growbags.com, and I've put a link to this in the description to this video.